First up tonight, a warning to parents about who they depend on for child care needs, even if they are family or a friend. This comes after the death of 6-week-old Leon Katz in Pittsburgh. Nicole Verzi, who was a friend of one of his parents, is accused of ending his short life by smashing his skull in. This happened in June. Verzi was babysitting Leon while his parents took his twin brother, Ari, to the hospital for injuries which, unknowing to them, that they were also allegedly caused by the babysitter. Verzi claims she is innocent and says Leon fell from his bouncer chair. However, doctors dispute her claim, saying his injuries were not accidental. If convicted, Verzi could face the death penalty. Joining us to talk about this tonight, parent Angela Vidal, licensed clinical social worker Yvette Muro, and David Settle, who is a parent as well. So David, first of all, let's start with you. When you see a story like this and the parents were on the way to the hospital to take one child and then there's another child, your thoughts about this?
And you know, this hits close to home because I got twins, right? I mean, I got 5 kids, but I also have a set of twins in the mix. And as devastating and as tragic as this story is, I'm honestly not really too concerned with all the details. I'm not here to play like a defense attorney or anything like that. All this story did for me was make me want to go home and hug my babies, was to be extra vigilant, extra careful, overprotective, if you will, over who I entrust my kids with, whether it's a friend, a family member, or any type of school or system. Like, it's just crazy. You got to be careful. You got to be careful.
And you never really know. And Angela, your thoughts on this as a parent?
You know, I think that this story is really tragic because, you know, those parents probably felt like they could trust that lady that was, you know, coming into their home. She's supposed to be a friend. And I think that
not just a friend, but also in college, going to school for psychology. Her father is a prominent cardiologist in California. And so what would you expect to go wrong?
Well, I mean, sometimes you just really don't know, you know. I don't know if now in retrospect those parents are like, maybe there was some signs and maybe we didn't pay attention to those signs. And I think that following that intuition that you feel originally, like when you meet people and not, you know, second questioning that, you know, that also could play a factor. But in this situation, again, it doesn't matter who it is. You know, you need to be vigilant, do background checks, and just pay attention to the way that people act around your children.
Absolutely. Yvette, your thoughts on this?
So my initial thought is, one, right, like Angela said, was knowing the person, individual. I'm thinking when it comes to risk factors of seeing other adults and how they interact with children, is also understanding what stressors do they have in their life. Like you said, PhD student, you know, cardiologist, parent, typically, or some of the risk factors for adults that might abuse children include having a history of child abuse themselves. Also, those extra stressors, you know, economic, medical, who knows, and not fully understanding themselves the developmental stages of childhood. So this person might have not known that as a baby, you know, they cry, or they not knowing how to care for them. So as a parent, you might want to ensure that the individual that you have caring for your child is fully knowledgeable of these childhood developmental stages.
Absolutely. And once again, we want to remind people that she has not been convicted. She is only accused in this case. So, David, let's get back to you. One of the things that we heard from you guys as parents, how likely are you to do a background check though on someone? Because you think you know people.
You think you know
people. You
people.
got a family member, friend. You've had dealings with them for years, but you just don't know what sets them off. It could be jealousy of your child. It could be a hidden mental issue that you don't know about.
You know, that's the first thing.
Go ahead, both of you. Go ahead.
No, honestly, you really, I mean, when I think about it, I have never done a background check on any of my friends that I've had watch my kids, or family members for that matter. But one thing I've always had in my corner is an amazing partner in terms of my kid's mom, right? She has this unbelievable intuition that just, you know, most women have. And even when, like, the people seem to be the most upstanding citizens, if she feels like something ain't right, I'm going to trust trust that intuition,
As you
right?
should.
And I
As
might have
you
to turn
should.
down a gig, I might have to miss an opportunity, but at the end of the day, there's no sacrifice worth my babies. So I'm gonna choose them every single time. If I have to stay home, I'm gonna stay home.
How likely is, and that was your suggestion though, but how likely will parents with family members and friends run that background check?
I think that the background check is something that is more when you're hiring someone long term. Like
Got
if she
it,
was
got
there
it,
long
got it.
term, you
Makes
know, when I've
sense.
hired long term, I've definitely done a background check. To me, this story comes off as like a jealousy, like maybe some type of psychological thing that was triggering her, that
I
maybe
would
she
agree.
wants twins or she can't have kids or something like that. And that's the type of stuff that I mean is like sometimes people can like approach your life with an ill intention, and maybe these parents didn't even pick up on that, you know, and that's why it's so important what he said. It's like, you know, as a mom, you will have that intuition, and it's really important to listen to it.
Yvette, what can people look for in family members and friends, those who are close, that would be a red flag to say, not these damn people, they are not watching my children at all?
So I guess one of the things that you have to look for is how they react or interact in stressful situations. So like if, you know, how they interact with your children, are they attentive, are they loving, or if you notice that they just snap when something goes wrong. Noticing those little small things of their behaviors in those moments, and also having full knowledge or somewhat of a knowledge of some of the things going on in their life. Like how much are they taking on? Like are they able to take on like the responsibility of a child too?
And in the last 20 seconds, what about those who are anxious to care for your children? And you're like, wait a minute, I don't want them like that.
It goes back to
I don't even want to watch it.
it just noticing their behaviors around your children. And if you feel like, okay, maybe not, you know, there's resources out there, 211, other things that you can look into to fully, you know, realize like, okay, maybe not them, but maybe I can find somebody else who is respectable or not too aggressive about watching my child.
There you go. Thank you all for joining us here. Important information for parents out there. Obviously, a lot of parents leave their children with babysitters, and you just don't know.